This video is proudly sponsored by Oxide Hosting. With this hosting company, you can never go wrong. They provide outstanding customer support and all for a low price. Their services range from website hosting to Minecraft server hosting. If you are interested in them, be sure to check out the link in the description below.
Hey, it's me, Duncan, and welcome back to another MenuDocs tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to use the EventWaiter from JDA-Utils, as I noticed a couple of people in our Discord had trouble using that class. So let's get started by making a new Java class, and I'm gonna call it EventWaiter example command. This will implement I command, as with all of our previous videos. I'm just gonna copy name and help from off screen, and those are not really important. I just call it wait, and with the help shows an example with the EventWaiter. So first of all, we need to obtain the EventWaiter, and to do that we can simply say private EventWaiter waiter, and we're gonna insert a constructor with the EventWaiter. If you don't have the EventWaiter, make sure to go to your build.gradle or pom.xml or whatever you're using, and make sure that you have the JDA-Utils comments library included in your package, because otherwise you will not be able to use the EventWaiter. So what we want to do with this waiter is we want to show an example of adding a reaction to the message. So what we need to do first in the handle is we need to get our text channel. So channel equals event.getChannel, and we need to get our channel ID. And the reason that we're storing the channel ID as well is because we want to send messages later on to the channel, and storing JDA objects is a bad idea as they can break. So we can say long channel ID equals channel.getID long. Next up, we need the emote we want to use it to react with. And in my case, this is the new emote. But we want to have the Unicode for in our code. To do that, we can simply go to the JDA guild, and if we go to testing over here, we can use the emote command. You can just copy this from the description where the code is linked if you want to use the same emote. But we need to use this in the brackets so we can use it in our code. Next up, we want to make a new variable, and this is a private static final string emote. That's not how you spell string. Final string emote. And as you can see, it currently has double backslashes. We don't want that, so you need to remove one backslash so we get a Unicode object or a Unicode string. Next up, we want to say channel.sendMessage. Please react with emote. I'm gonna queue this off. And once this was success, we get the message. And from the message, we can say message add reaction emote and queue this as well. Next up, we need to initialize the waiter. And I don't want to do that within this callback, which I think is ugly. So I'm going to make a new method for this, which is a private void init waiter. We need the message ID, we need the channel ID, and we need the shard manager. And the reason that we are using the shard manager here is because that is one of the only two entities that you can actually store in JDA. Those are the JDA object and the shard manager, and because we are using the shard manager, we're going to use the shard manager. So what we can say now is waiter.wait for event, and this takes in a few arguments. The first one is the event that we want to wait for. In our case, it is the guild message reaction add event. So you type guild message reaction add event.class. Next up, we have some checks that we need to do. For now, I'm just gonna return true. And lastly, our handler. So firstly, we need to do some checks. Of course, you want to check if it's the correct emote that they reacted with. So what we want to do for that is event.getReactionEmote. I'm gonna make this a variable, and we need to get the user. So user equals event.getUser. So let's start checking. First of all, we want to check not user.isBot. And we want to do that because we want to ignore bots, and especially ourselves, which is in this case the tutorial bot. Because this add reaction call is async, and if we init the waiter before or after it, it doesn't matter. It will always catch that added event. So if it's a bot, we're gonna ignore it. Next up, we need to check for the message, because we only want to check for our sent message, which is the please react with emote. So we do that by saying and event.getMessageID long is equal to message ID. Next up, we want to check if the emote is an emoji. And the difference between an emote and an emoji is an emote is custom and an emoji is Unicode. So what we need to do for that is not emote.isEmote, and last but not least, emote.equals emote.getName. And we should call this emote, we should call it emoji, just for some clarification. Next up, in our event handler, we will declare two variables, the text channel and the user, which we obtain from sharpmanager.getTextChannel by ID, channel ID. And after that, we're gonna send a message formatted. Emoji. And the message we want to send is user. This is special formatting for the user, which will automatically insert the tag. Was the first to react with the emoji to the message. And the reason that I say the first is because wait for event only fires once. So if you just were to return true here and you would receive a message, your event is lost and it won't fire again. This current setup will keep waiting forever for a message. So to prevent it from waiting forever, we want to get and say it a timeout of 10 seconds. And when it is done, you have a runnable. And in that runnable, we're gonna say we get the channel and we say I stopped listening for reactions. So right now we need to call this method. So we do initWaiter message.id long channel ID and event.getJDA.sBot.getShardManager. If you are already using JDA version 4, you want to remove this as bot call and just instead call JDA.getShardManager. But because as of at the time of recording we are still using JDA version 3 and JDA version 4 is still in beta, we're gonna use JDA version 3 for this instead. Also JDA-Utils is still on version 3, that's why. So next up, we need to create our EventWaiter, and we do that in our main class just underneath the config and above the command manager. So we're gonna say EventWaiter waiter equals new EventWaiter. This EventWaiter has to be added as a listener so it can receive the events, and we need to pass it on to our command manager. Waiter. In our command manager constructor, we can say EventWaiter waiter to receive it, and we're gonna add the command new EventWaiter example command with the waiter. And right now this command is done, so let's check it out on Discord. So we're currently within Discord and we got 2D in the voice channel to help us out test this command. So first off, we're gonna just call the wait command, and if I react with wait, it says that I was the first to react, and if 2D adds his reaction right now, you can see nothing happens because the event waiter only waits for one event. So if we call the command again, and now 2D is the first one, you can see that 2D was the first. And if I do it, nothing happens. But if we run the command and just wait for a while, you can see that after 10 seconds, you should get a message, I stopped listening for events. And as you can see, I stopped listening for reactions. And that is how to use the event waiter from JDA-Utils. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to MenuDocs if you haven't already, and I see you guys with another tutorial in 2 weeks. Bye!
Yeah, that body's a blessing, girl. I ain't trying to pressure her. She messed with the temperature. I wrote the song, but I am the messenger. Through the metropolis, there is no stopping this. Flowers and kisses, yeah. I heard you like chocolate. Light up the candles.